The Halal Times, the voice of Ummah. In an unprecedented appeal, more than 600 former Israeli security chiefs, including some of the most powerful names in Israel's intelligence and military establishment, have come forward to demand an end to the war in Gaza. Their message is clear: enough is enough. On Sunday, these leaders signed a letter addressed directly to US President Donald Trump, urging him to intervene and pressure Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu to stop the relentless military assault. Stop the Gaza war. On behalf of CIS, Israel's largest group of former IDF generals and Mossad, Shin Bet, police and diplomatic corps equivalents, we urge you to end the Gaza war. This was no ordinary plea. Rather, it appeared to be quite clear that the IDF generals who wrote this letter knew that the war that is going on in Gaza is completely without direction and is only resulting in more and more deaths, including the deaths of the hostages. It is our professional judgment that Palestinian resistance no longer poses a strategic threat to Israel, the officials said. Your credibility with the vast majority of Israelis augments your ability to steer Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and his government in the right direction. End the war, return the hostages, stop the suffering, they wrote. This is clear from the statement that the officials have very closely monitored the situation and, based on their deep analysis, have concluded that the war is completely aimless. There is no imminent threat from the militants. The war is only increasing the sufferings of common people, which include the hostages, and hence there is no point in continuing this war, especially when it is adversely affecting the hostages even more. Among the signatories were former Mossad chief Tamir Pardo, former Shin Bet director Ami Ayalon, and former deputy Israeli army chief Matan Vilnai. Although these three officials are not particularly pro-humanity or anti-Israel, they could no longer ignore the ongoing cost to innocent lives. But why appeal to Donald Trump, a person who has completely no power over the affairs of Netanyahu? The letter's authors believe Trump's record shows he has the leverage and personal influence over Netanyahu to compel a ceasefire. They wrote, "You did it in Lebanon. Time to do it in Gaza as well." This is the reference that the IDF personnel gave, referring to the war in Lebanon, which came to a halt because of the intervention of Trump. But they are ignorant of the fact that Lebanon is not Gaza. It is armed, and it is self-sufficient. On the other hand, Gaza is treated as a personal property of Israel, and the Gazans are seen as intruders, and this is why the war in Gaza is not like the war in Lebanon. Netanyahu is just too greedy to let the invasion and occupation of Gaza slip out of his hand on the orders of Trump. Since the start of this onslaught nearly 2 years ago, Israel's military has carried out a campaign of destruction that has shocked the world. The figures are staggering. Over 60,800 Palestinians have died, including more than 20,000 children. Additionally, 82 adults and 95 children have died due to starvation, and entire neighborhoods have been reduced to rubble. A humanitarian crisis so severe that Gaza has been pushed to the brink of famine. Hospitals, schools, churches, mosques. Everything is a legitimate target for the IDF as they don't see Gazans as human beings. And yet, despite near-universal international calls for a ceasefire, the Israeli government has pressed ahead with its operations, citing security and the goal of dismantling Hamas. The world's top legal institutions have weighed in. In November, the International Criminal Court issued arrest warrants for Prime Minister Netanyahu and former Defense Minister Yoav Gallant. They stand accused of war crimes and crimes against humanity. Yet the same Trump whom the IDF soldiers have written a letter to stop the war is the one who gives extreme respect and honor to the war criminal and children executor, Netanyahu. The letter was organized by Commanders for Israel Security, known as CIS, This is Israel's largest network of retired generals, intelligence directors, and diplomats. Founded in 2014, CIS has repeatedly criticized government policies they say endanger Israel's long-term security and democracy. Their position is that endless military escalation only fuels extremism, deepens Israel's isolation, and undermines its future. For 600 former security officials to break ranks so publicly and to call on a controversial foreign leader for help shows the depth of Israel's internal crisis. It is an admission that the Gaza war has spiraled far beyond anything resembling self-defense. It is a recognition that Israel's own security establishment no longer believes the government has a credible strategy for peace. Whether Trump will respond or whether Netanyahu will listen is uncertain. But the letter highlights a bitter truth. This war has cost tens of thousands of lives, shattered any remaining illusions of coexistence, and left Gaza in ruins. And now destruction is so massive that even the enemies of Gaza are unable to ignore it completely. And now, even those who once built Israel's military power are publicly pleading to end it. The era for Netanyahu as the praised savior of Israel has ended, and it seems that after enduring insults and humiliation globally, the moment has arrived for Netanyahu to face humiliation, disrespect, and contempt from within Israel as a result of his wrongful actions. That's all for today. If you found the video informative and engaging, please like it and subscribe to the channel. Jazakallahu khairan.